Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Starship Enterprise. Just kidding. If I sound a little weird tonight, I have a head cold, so I'm going to be leaking or something through my nose. Anyways, great Seiko Kai this past weekend. A lot of good information, and of course, the subject being commitment. Nothing ever happens without a commitment. Nothing good ever happens without a commitment. And great things require big commitments. And so, um, a lot of people they talk about being committed, but you know, when you're put to the test, that's when you really know if you're committed, if you're willing to do what it takes. And quite often, we are challenged. I know a lot of people, they make a decision to move forward in some endeavor, and almost immediately the gates of hell open up and they're challenged. And it's really just sort of a test of how committed are you to that decision. So don't be surprised if you make a decision to rank advance, for instance, and then all of a sudden you're met with, a job promotion or all these other distractions that just seem to be what you attract when you make a decision to move ahead. Just stay focused on what your commitment is and go for it. Enough about that. You can watch the playback. It's just been released. Definitely worth a keeper for sharing with new consultants and whatnot. So we've been. Oh, what was the question? I think Mary Ellen, you had a question.
Yes, I just wondered if there is a place where a list of all the recommended videos for certain topics or certain purposes are gathered with a, kind of brief, is this for the what conversation, the why conversation, just a place where you could go and it's then easy to copy the link to send to somebody.
Okay. Not exactly, but to be more specific, some would be appropriate and some are not. So I was just going over this with my Quebec team. So let's just talk about this for a second before I share with what I'm going to share with you. There's three conversations in this partnering process. And when I say that, I'm defining it. I'm saying the partnering process, even that language itself, is something that I use because it's a distinction between enrolling somebody as a preferred customer, wholesale buyer, versus somebody who's really committed to making money and starts going after achievements. And so that would be a partner. Partner is somebody with a goal. A distributor or consultant is somebody who, registered, maybe bought some products. There's no real distinction. So we're trying to create an awareness that there's a distinction between behavior, and behavior needs to be matched appropriately with the upline support and the tools and whatnot, versus one size fits all. It's not like that in NICAN. And we're recognizing the need for more clarity, more distinction between people who just want to buy products, maybe save some money, versus people who want to actually make some money. And then even then there are distinctions, because some people might be just happy to have a small retail business where they're sharing products, kind of like affiliates and affiliate marketing. And then there may be those who have been attracted to the promise of network marketing, the opportunity to create a large scalable network and generate a residual income. Those are different propositions. Those require different levels of commitment and different skill sets. So what we are doing in the development right now, and I am in development with NICAN on this, as is the NICAN field leadership team, on making these distinctions. So you're going to see this. You're going to actually see this it'll be probably presented at the BOSS event. You're going to see these things that are being worked on right now. There are technical matters that involves, because they have to actually set up the system to do that. But what we're doing now in this conversation and through my channel here on Aligning with Success is starting to develop the awareness, because I'm aware of what's coming and I want you to be prepared for it, so you can just lean right into it and launch. So in the why conversation, that's really a one-on-one. That's really you getting familiar with somebody and their needs. And so there's a level of skill, there's a level of understanding that's needed to be really good at that. And so for that right now, we're referencing the video called Contact and Invite. That's the one I'm referencing. Also the one that my daughter did, Sophia, also did a Contact and Invite. She's really excellent. And she even incorporates meeting people, for instance, online. So that's unplanned contacts, planned but unplanned. So you put something out there and all of a sudden you're meeting somebody online. Now you're taking it to the next level. So those are called Contact and Invite. Those are YouTube videos you can watch, one by myself, Mike DiMuccio, one by Sophia DiMuccio. And there is a document, and I'm pretty sure I've shared this document of the Contact and Invite that Sophia does. They put together a document, or somebody scraped that information and put it into a document. And we've been sharing that around the tools. But what you're asking for is, if I sign somebody up today, where do they get this information? So I'm telling you right now, so you can record it and you can obtain it. Ideally, what we will have soon is a repository of the stuff that we want to point to. Now, so that encompasses the why conversation with respect to, how do I make contact and invite somebody into Niken? We've also added to that the strength test video of myself and Sophia, so that we can create an interest. We can create that initial spark to create some excitement, enthusiasm, to actually have that conversation, to roll into the why conversation, to transfer this wow factor into what does that matter to me? That's where you get into the why. So that's our step one, let's just say. How do I get somebody into the conversation? I pique their interest with the video. If I can physically do the demo on them, I do it. And then I transition that to, I'm not here to sell you a necklace, but I am here to talk to you about something much bigger this can lead to. And that's where the why conversation comes in. So now the next piece is, okay, so let's say they are excited, they're interested, now they want to learn about Niken. What are the videos? What are the tools? What are the documents? What are the presentations? What are the what's, how are they going to learn about Niken in a way that's consistent, that they can duplicate, and something that we can teach others how to do? So where's the repository, if you will, of that information? So right now, we being the Niken Field leadership team, the exec team is working on distilling this. What we know for sure is a lot of what we used to do in the past, before the internet was really the internet, is we used to present the information. And you found a lot of very dynamic speakers and presenters, or wannabe entertainers, end up at the front of the room in wellness previews and business meetings. It was just the way network marketing grew. It was like all these people who wanted to be singers, actors, whatever, they ended up being the presenters at the front of the room because that was a natural fit for their personality. But in the age of information, those people have become redundant. You can record them and you can have those recordings available. So that's good for people who want to be successful in network marketing, who don't necessarily fit the bill or the mold of being a presenter. But it's not really about being a presenter anymore. It's now about being a facilitator. And that's the change, the big change that the industry is going through, or has gone through. So we just want to facilitate someone's process, which means if I can provide them with sufficient amounts of information, I mean, not overwhelmed, not too little, not too much, but just enough that is sufficient for them to be able to say, I want to get involved, then what is that information? What would it entail? And in my attempt to actually do that, a couple of years ago, I put together the page called that you can find, theroyalalliance.com/a-better-way. If you want a shorter one, there is my daughter's, which it is sovereignlife.me. So if you go to sovereignlife.me, it's the same page, only branded a little bit different, but essentially same page, same links. And what's on that one page is the most recent Niken video, why Niken, as the starting video. Then there's a few other links, all of which are here. Let me just show you so that we don't have to.
This is all on the Sovereign Team one, Michael?
Yeah, whether it's the royalalliance.com / I'll just go to that one so that you can see it. Or sovereignlife.me, it's the same thing. Same page, just a little slightly different branding. Branding meaning the imaging and stuff. Okay, so here we are, the royalalliance.com / a-better-way. And so what this page does is it contains all the things that I would want to tease somebody and give them background information about Niken. The first, as I mentioned, is the Niken video. And you can see here it's 1 minute and 49 seconds. Followed by the PyMag waterfall features. Again, why? Because it's one of our lead products. So they have a dabble of the Niken story, a dabble of the product. And I usually tell them, watch the first 2 videos. If you like what you see, keep going. Then there's the Water Matters video that was put together by Doc. Then we have Better Way. I think this video is Ben. An abbreviated version of a previous version of the Better Way presentation. Anyway, it's enough to get to know what Niken's about. And then there's more information about products in terms of technology. I like this. There's the microsite for the water. So if you click on this, it immediately takes you to the microsite, which has information about sport bottle water. If you click on the waterfall, and it's a nice, it tells you everything you need to know about that. So it's a really handy page to have. Then there's more videos put together by Doc. Why I Can't Sleep. I'm sure we could probably replace some of these with some of the newer stuff. But for the moment, these are the ones that we're using. I think he's got a really good one about the wellness home. So we might want to put the wellness home instead, right? But we're going to get critical about this shortly. But the point is, it's here. It's been here for a while. The Self-Care Awakening magazine. These are some documents. If you want the catalog, US or Canada. So it's all at their fingertips, all of this information. The Better Way PDF presentation. Again, I haven't updated this, but I will. And then the video that we did some time ago called the Niken Zoom In. It was a very good event. It has testimonials and so forth. So if somebody was serious enough about looking into this, this is more than enough information to see what Niken's about and get a feel for it. Both corporate videos, field videos, and some documentation. So this answers the question of how the how presentation, the how does Niken fit into my life? But there's one thing that this thing doesn't do. There's one thing that link doesn't do, and that's really create the kind of emotion that we used to generate when we had live events. And if we think about it, so much of our presentations online these days are information. And people don't make a decision based on information. They make a decision based on emotion. They justify the decision based on information. So we have missed a huge aspect of what makes our business work. And that is the live stories, the live interaction. When we would meet in person at a preview, I mean, that was part of the culture of Niken, was the camaraderie, the community, and COVID wiped that out for the most part. And that's a problem. It's definitely it's definitely impacted our business in a negative way. In Latin America, they never stopped meetings. And so the Latin American market continues to thrive. The North American market doesn't, because it's lacking in its live meetings. It's got all the information in the world, all the opportunity in the world to present Nikken information. But what's missing is what really makes the business. And that's
the
that human
live,
connection.
the live are the hugs and the food and the fun.
Yeah.
And
So what we're going to suggest as an immediate remedy is leaders start doing meetings again, start doing in-homes again, start presenting, bringing people together for the sake of hearing your stories. So the most important aspect of a live meeting is not the presentation. It's the interaction. It's the hearing of the stories. So whatever you decide to do in terms of a live meeting, it's got to be story oriented. And again, one of the factors that affected people feeling free to tell their story was all the information coming out about compliance. Well, if we can learn how to tell our story properly, why should we not tell our story? So let's tell our stories and let's learn how to do it properly. That's such a critical factor. And so I'm going to recommend that we agree that there's going to be some tweaking in our online presence and in your own towns, where a live event means a gathering of people to share stories, to share their personal stories, not a gathering of people to learn more about what they've already seen online. You can just point them to the link and say, watch this. All the information you need to know about this is there. What we want to do is share, why this matters. And so I'm going to suggest that to complete the how in the process, we need to resume live presentations, both online and in person. Now, we do have them already online. There are already a number of presentations online called Nikken Connect. And again, some of those presentations are a little bit more information oriented, and we want to get back to testimonial oriented. So these are some of the discussions that are happening with Nikken as well. That the Tuesday night meeting is a great introductory to one of the product categories. Those are good, but those can be recorded. Once they're recorded, they don't need to be live. They just are information pieces. What makes live interesting and valuable is the stories. That's what makes live live, when people share their experience. And when you have a platform where you can invite customers who have a story to share their story, and maybe even offer them a perk or so to do that, but build community of that, then what we're going to see is a thriving business, because that's what drives people, is the products and the emotion that the products deliver. So we're going to go back to a more live experience. So that's the how. So let's say the how is comprised of your digital brochure, which is a website with all of these things that they can click and look at and whatever. For people who need more information, it's there. But the live experience, that's going to be the thing that locks them in to being, at the very least, a customer, because they're not going to become a wellness consultant if they're not a customer. And there's no point in signing somebody up who doesn't buy the products. So all of those behaviors will leave our way of doing things when we properly fix the machine, when the machine is properly organized and it moves people correctly through the process, the funnel of thoughts and emotions that lead to actions. So that's the how. From the how, we know we have either a customer who wants to buy the products or a consultant who wants to buy the products. And I want to make something clear. One of the distinctions that we're also going to make, and it's going to show up in the vocabulary and the enrollment process, is that a customer or a preferred customer is somebody who wants to save money, buy the products and maybe save some money. Whereas a consultant is somebody who wants to make money, earn money. Now, hopefully where this goes, and I'm really hopeful, there's not going to be a distinction between the price of one or the other. Hopefully the price is not going to be in competition, that a person can enroll as a customer or a preferred customer and a consultant, and there's no price differential. There are benefits, and the benefits can be earned for the person who's a consumer. They can share the products, they can earn free products. For the person who's a business builder, they can share the opportunity in the products and earn an income. So that's kind of the direction this is going, and I hope sooner than later. But we really want to start moving in that direction soon. So now we've got the why and the how. That leads to somebody being a customer or a consultant. And if you remember the reverse zigzag, so first is the why, turns a contact into an interested contact. Then there's the how, which turns the interested contact into either a customer or a consultant. Then there's one other step, the what. So the what is a training. It's designed to distinguish a person between being a consultant who has not necessarily any real objectives versus somebody who wants to actually build a business and have some goals that we can help them set, which we call a partner. And so to distinguish that, we need a presentation that helps them understand what it means to actually have a business in NECANN. So that presentation is the one that I've been working on. That is called the Career Plan and Launch Strategy. That's the original name of it. Right now it's Business Plan and Launch Strategy. It'll be one of those. That presentation is almost ready to go, and I've shared bits and pieces of it, and some of it is encompassed in the presentation handouts, right? Where they actually see that there's a business plan here, and then how to launch that plan. The goal of the training will show people the wisdom of an investment of their time, their money, and their contacts to roll a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and a little bit of contacts into freedom of time, more money in terms of cash flow, and a network that can span the globe. The analogy is the snowman. If you want to make a snowman, you got to first make a snowball, and then you roll that snowball into a big ball. And so that's the idea of you've got to start with something, and the something is time, money, and contacts, and then you roll that into a lot of more of the three. That's the return on investment. So the what conversation is a presentation and answering questions of what do I do to make this thing work? So that's the what. What do I do to make this thing work? Well, you're going to invest a bit of time, a bit of money, and a bit of contacts, and you're going to invite these people through a process, the one you've just been through, so that they can see what NECANN means to them, out of which come our customers, our consultants, and our partners. And then you just teach them how to do what you did, and it grows from there. Yes, Madeline?
Could you just put the slide up? Margie's on.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you, so give me 1 second. That's on my...
Margie's on, and Barb Satterwhite's not on, but Gwen is. And Gwen did the Wellness Home tour tonight, and they use storytelling. It's really quite advanced. It was wonderful. I had a guest on there, and it was really very good tonight. So absolutely.
Excellent. So this may become a more popular thing for us to utilize, to leverage, now that we have a better understanding of how important our stories to this process of enrolling people into NECANN.
Mike, could
It's
you
critical.
put the slide up so people can see the Z? Do you mind sharing?
Sure. Yes, of course.
Yeah. So because you're talking about it, and not everybody's as quite familiar with it.
Give me a second to bring it up. It's usually standing by not too far.
And I have a guest that couldn't get on that wants to see it. So thank you.
And by the way, this presentation, I've gone over in the last 3 or 4 Aligning with Success. So if you want to just back up 3 or 4 Aligning with Success videos, you'll see this reverse zigzag pretty much every time. And here it is.
Where does We Academy fit in to all of this?
Well, now you're in the getting started section. We're not
Oh.
getting started yet.
Okay, sorry.
So So here we are, we've taken somebody to the starting blocks, let's say, and right now, all they're trying to do is decide where does Nikan fit in. So look, first conversation, the why helps a person go from being just a name or an encounter or a person on your list to being somebody interested in knowing more about how Nikan could serve their needs, because you've identified their needs in that first why conversation. So you've got an interested contact who now needs to know how Nikan can serve their needs. They need to know about the business, the products. They need to know about the system that we use so that they can decide to what degree do they want to get involved. Do they want just the products or do they want the whole meal deal? That's the customer consultant. Now, obviously, to move people through this process, sometimes we need a little bit of grease. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Well, the grease, yeah, Madeline, the grease is the ABCs. So having ABCs teed up or ready to go, or somebody that you work with who can be your A in an ABC call, is critical. It's the grease that helps people move from one step in the process to the next. And that's why it's important you even understand this process, because if you called me up and said, Mike, I've got somebody that I want you to speak with, I'm going to need to know where in the process they are. And if you can't answer that because you don't know what the process is, then I have to dig. I'm going to interview you. I'm going to find out, what do they know? What did you present? What did you tell? Blah, 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 blah. It saves us a whole lot of time if we're following the same plan. We're following the same process. We're using the same language. You can say, Mike, I've had the why conversation with them. Here's their why. Oh, that's handy. That's really good for me to know because I need to know that. And they've had, 2/3 of the how. They've been online. They've seen some of the stuff. They haven't been to a live event yet. Okay, now I know my job. Guess what my job is as the A? Get them to a live event. My job is going to be to impress upon them how important it would be for them to actually attend a live event. And if you know where the live event is that you're going to plug them into, whether it's online or live in your community, that would help to know. So my job is to move them along and answer any questions they may have. So that's a process. And if you're following a process is something you can learn and it's something you can teach. If you're not following a process, how do you know when somebody knows what they need to know to decide what they need to decide? And then what is it that you want them to decide? Most people are so happy that somebody says, that they join Nikan. I do not get excited about somebody joining Nikan. That means absolutely nothing. I'll bet you if I went on your genealogy, every one of you, and I looked at your genealogy and I can see all the people that joined with big fat zeros next to their volume, I would tell you, how important was it that they joined? Not very important if there's zero volume. So what did they join? They joined the club. Okay, now they can call themselves an Nikan consultant, but that they didn't join a plan. They didn't join a business. They didn't join a movement. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference between getting involved for the sake of getting involved, and there's a difference between getting it, or maybe they just joined so they could buy wholesale. Maybe they're just a wholesale customer. But I can tell if somebody's a business builder. One of the things I note is whether or not they bought sufficient products. Business builders are people who usually buy the most products the fastest. And I'm going to get to that in a second. So that's in the what conversation, because now I've got a consultant who may have enrolled, but they haven't yet really made a decision to build, or to what extent do they want to build. So now what conversation would help them decide that, or what event would help them decide that? Maybe they came to the Seiko Kai this weekend and they're like, wow, that was amazing. Okay, tell me now, what do I need to do to succeed? So the Seiko Kai did the job of getting them to ask you, what does it take? That's why the Seiko Kai is important to have with regularity. A big event is important because it prompts somebody to the next level of commitment. If somebody had already gone through the what presentation and they went to the Seiko Kai, at this point, they might be saying to you, okay, we need to put our calendar together so we can launch. When are we launching? See what I mean? The event formed a prompt the prompt in this case was because the person was already after the what conversation. The person's now ready for the next piece, which is launch. So every one of these ABCs is to move them to the next, to the next, to the next. And the process is why, how, what, launch. Why, how, what, launch. Okay. So that's the end in mind. However, some people, after the why, not interested. After the how, customer or consultant. And that's all they do. After the what, maybe they don't do anything. Not this month, not next month, maybe 3 months from now. So we have a big event regularly because you don't know when that person's going to say, I'm ready to go. So now, the what conversation, as I was saying, is to help them make a decision to be a partner. Let's define what a partner is. So a partner is somebody who is prepared to invest some time, money, and contacts. Time, money, and contacts. So with respect to time, it's going to be the time to actually invite people into this process and to move people through this process. The money is how they get their Nikan wellness home started. How do they start? And the contacts, of course, is their list. Everybody starts with people they know. So if they're not prepared to do that, then they don't have the recipe. They don't have the ingredients for a launch. Well, if they don't have the ingredients for the launch, what are you going to do with them? You might just help them, get started somehow. Maybe the only thing that they're going to do is a powerhouse, or maybe they're just going to do some retail sales. So what my goal is to find a launch partner. That's my prime directive. But the fallback position is I have a consultant who's not ready to go yet. The fallback to position of that is I have a customer who's not ready to join as a consultant. The fallback position to that is I get a referral. So that's if you're moving people through this process and you know what the fallbacks are. So let me just close on this what conversation. The time, money, the money part of the what conversation. In that presentation, I talk about good, better, best. I talk about if you're going to be a business builder, you're going to duplicate. That's the goal, is to learn how to do something and then teach people how to do it. So you're going to duplicate. What are you going to duplicate? And so the part of the investment is what they're going to duplicate. What is it that they're going to duplicate? Are they going to duplicate Powerhouse, which is waterfalls? Well, then they need a waterfall. Are they going to duplicate more than that? Business building packages, like maybe the water pack. Maybe it's a combination of the water pack and the energy pack. Back in the day, it used to be the demo pack and their career pack. We used to have these packs and we used to combine them, and that would advance people further into their exploration of the products and their commitment level. So we have an option of good, better, best, and we have the fallback position, which is the waterfall. So that's in the what presentation. So if you had a person who's signed up and they came to that presentation, they're going to get information that's going to line them up with that as an option if they want to really commit to making money in a duplicatable system. They don't have to, but if they want to, they're going to get the track. So in lieu of that, there's something that me and the team have been working on that I shared with you last week, and this is it. This is the draft. This is not the final version because I haven't got the go-ahead yet. But this is kind of the idea. The idea is we're going to help those of us who have had great success in ECAN are putting together a launch team. We're going to be a launch team of high-ranking distributors, diamonds and above, high achievers with strong leadership qualities and that are respected field leaders. Now imagine you, Mike, had all these people at your disposal. Okay. And you're the launch sponsor. So you're the person who wants to help your new prospect launch properly. You've got a new person who's registered and you want them to launch properly. So we say, well, Mike, what you need to do is get them into the what conversation so that they know what it means to be serious about the business and become a launch partner. Because to become a launch partner in this accelerator program, in this accelerator team, they're going to have to make some commitments. Now, the only people we're going to ask this of is people who want to be part of this launch accelerator team. So you as the sponsor, you need to be on autoship. You as the sponsor has to set a pace for your business. And if you're not serious enough about your business to be on autoship, this is not for you. Not that Nikan's not for you. This accelerator program is not for you, because the accelerator program is about a system, duplication of certain minimums, if you will. You will have had to have purchased a pack in the past. Why? Because your conviction about being able to ask other people to do that is at stake. You need to be available for ABCs because, as you know, that's the grease in the wheels that helps people move people. And you need to follow the rhythm of the business, which is written down below, and we'll get to that in a minute. Whereas the launch partner, the person you're bringing to the party, the goal here is that they have autoship, that they've invested good, better, or best, which are the packs, and they're prepared to contact 3 to 5 people per day in this launch campaign. It's a 90-day launch campaign. The 3 to 5 people per day is preferably in their first month. And they plug into the system, which is, again, written, the support system is written below. So what will the support system consist of? Well, there's going to be a process. We want to move a number of people. You've got a new person, they got 100 names on their list, and we want to help them move those 100 names as fast as we can through this process. It's like a conveyor belt. So we're going to say, okay, let's say Tuesday's Wednesday wellness preview night. So sometime before Tuesday, you will have had the why conversation. Well, since we want to invite them to a live event, Tuesday's a perfect opportunity to invite them to a live event. In this case, it's a Zoom live event. Wednesday is the Wellness Home Tour. Again, great opportunity to invite either a prospect for the products or a business prospect to the Wellness Home Tour so they can learn about the products. If the website wasn't enough for them, but this is always good because it's live. In which case, by the way, what are they going to get access to? In the live meeting, testimonies. There's going to be an emphasis on testimonies. And so then Thursday is the call that we need to say, hey, are you ready to play? That call is going to be provided by the launch team. And the launch team is going to talk about that good, better, best scenario, the idea behind getting serious about the business, locking in, putting a plan together, and really going for it. So you're going to get a lot of help. Saturday is the getting started. So Saturday is where they get the info that I talk about, which is the what conversation. So they get the getting started info. They learn how to organize their thoughts to get their launch plan going. Now, since we need monthly and quarterly events, the lock-in events, the big events, that's the schedule for the big events. The kickoff call is the Seiko Kai Master Day and a month-end strategy call. That call is designed only for the people on the accelerator team. You're going to have people who need to wrap up the month. And to help them wrap up the month so that they can advance in rank, for instance, we need that special ABC. So this is where you bring your best people, the people who are in the game, and they learn how to close out the month. And we show some examples. And this is really a great strategy call. It's one that really helps people. I've had calls where somebody had to maybe do an extra 8,000 points or something like that. And we showed them how to get it done in the last 3 days of the month. So those strategy calls become real eye-openers. Then the tools. So now, what are the tools to help somebody present Nikan? And as I mentioned, the first one, the royalalliance.com/a-better way, that's one of the tools. Like I said, we're going to revamp it, make sure it's as good as it needs to be with our current materials. There's also the Nikan Share app. That's a great tool. There are videos, there's things there It's a CRM system so that you can keep track of your prospects. It's a really good tool, and we want to get familiar with that. So we want the launch sponsor and the launch partner especially to incorporate that into their strategy. There's the Nikan Connect schedule, of course, because that has the live events that they can plug into, both for prospecting and so forth, and for support. And then lastly, there's the Nikan link tree, which has how do you plug into Nikan and stay relevant and stay informed? Because we want our people not to just get in, but to stay in. That means plugging them in to the Nikan family, the Nikan community, etc. So this is our accelerator team, our accelerator program. And the goal, of course, is to help somebody in their first 90 days to campaign their launch with the vision of achieving 18,000 points, aka gold, in one of those months. Now, I'm telling you all this because we're hoping to launch this in October, and something is going to be announced on the kickoff call next Monday that you simply don't want to miss. I'm telling you, you're going to want your business builders on this call. What I can say is when I was first told, I said, how's that even possible? So I'm not going to say any more because I was blown away that this was even possible. But I'm telling you, you're going to want your business builders on this call, on Monday's kickoff call, because Nikan's going to announce something that is going to fuel the front end of our business in a very unique and exciting way, over and above everything you already have, as if you need any more. Okay, but this is like, wow, this is lightning. It's like lightning in a bottle. I'm serious about this. And couple that with this launch, this accelerator program, then you're going to have serious prospects who want to really go and want to go now. Then you're going to want them involved in this. So it gives us a way to create an acceleration for those who are not wanting to tinker, but wanting to actually get results. And so that's what we're doing right now to tee things up. Of course, October is the last month in the prep. Is it the last month in the prep for Boss event? I think it is, right?
Yes, the last one to qualify
for the incentives for the Boss event. So all of this is timed really, really nicely. So what you want to be doing is thinking about what we just talked about, the prospect of actually helping people go gold in their launch as a rule. And the reason why I said that is if you go back again, a few videos back, I did one call. I don't know if it was a published call. Actually, I don't think it was published. We talked to existing consultants who'd been around 10 years or more. And there was a time when the Nikan compensation plan required 20,000 points in one calendar month for somebody to achieve the rank of silver. Today, it's less than a third of that. It's 6,000. But we had all of us achieve it. So we know what it's like to do that kind of volume in a short burst of energy, but it takes focus. It takes everything I just talked about is what it takes. So we are brushing off all of our notes and bringing back to the forefront what it was that we did successfully to create thousands upon thousands of silvers in a very short period of time. And so that's why you're hearing what you're hearing. That's why things are being organized the way they're being organized. And what follows, if we take a borrowed chapter from Dave Rolfe, what follows attention?
Results and money,
right? What follows attention is money. And if there's more money, then what multiplies the whole experience is money, more money. So that's what we're doing. We're setting up for an incredible year end because 2024 is our coming out party. We're going to have a big 2024. There's lots that's being laid down. I mean, I had a call today, again, things that I can't talk about, but if half of what we talked about on the call today actually comes to fruition for 2024, I'm going to be a happy camper Because what this does is it opens up a whole new market for us. Like we're talking about, people will recognize and see the value of Nikken from a completely different point of view than you've ever had before. So that opens up a huge, huge marketplace. Anyways, all good. Any questions?
I have a comment, Mike, on the packs. You might add, they have the Start My Wellness Home Pack now. And if somebody puts a nice hefty auto ship together with some other non-consumables on there, and then also puts their Start My Wellness Home Pack and gets the kinds of things they want for personal use and how they want to start their business, that might be another option to add to the packs, the good, better, best.
Well, the Start My Wellness Home link, I speak about in that presentation. So you're saying as a consultant, they can use the Start My Wellness Home
I
link?
think two
It's for
options.
customers, if I'm not mistaken.
Customer only.
Yeah.
So if you started it, you said for the sponsors, if we purchased our pack before, if we're teaching, or at least Dave is teaching, to become a customer first with the Power Launch Pack so that you know what you're earning.
So this is the fallback. So how do we get somebody started if they don't want to go for the good, better, best? Then I'm going to suggest that they start as a customer, get their waterfall, and then they start doing the powerhouse.
But my only question is if they start as a customer also with one of those hefty Start My Wellness Home packs and then made their decision, they made a good pack there, just like you said, the sponsor, if we purchased our packs before it was okay.
You're saying if they purchase their pack as a customer versus a consultant? Yeah, if they've purchased the pack, the reason why this is an important thing, okay? Remember, we're talking about a system. If we think of franchising, because that's the best example I can give you, a franchise has a standard. That's what makes it a franchise. If it's a good franchise, it's extremely expensive to own, to get a franchise that's very successful. And why you have to pay a premium for very successful is because they're proven. And so you got a money machine if you can afford to buy one of those franchises. But if you go into a franchise company and you say, okay, Speedy Muffler, I want a Speedy Muffler shop. But I don't like the yellow color and the green. Can I change it to purple? That's my color. They're going to say, no, I think you want the franchise down the street. So you don't get to choose. They tell you what the turnkey business is and what the requirements are. You don't have latitude there. So the more successful a franchise is, the more demanding they are that you adhere to their franchise rules, curriculum, etc., startup procedures, everything, because you're buying the system, you're buying what they've taken time to perfect. Same thing here. What we have is a network marketing business, which is a franchise for people. And the requirements, the cost of doing business is much, much smaller. Of course, it's a fraction of the cost. And yet, if we don't treat it like a franchise, if we don't treat it that way, then what we're not going to have is duplication, or the duplication that we're going to have is going to be, throw enough mud on the wall and hope something sticks. That's not a real sellable feature. Hey, I'm in the business of showing you how to throw enough mud against the wall and hoping that something sticks. Hope is our business. And you're going to go like, thanks, no thanks. I want to show you a business that actually has a process, has a system, has a support, and has a proven track record. And I know what has proven. It's proven itself in the past, and it'll prove itself again, because people like to follow a system. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as there is a system. And we're not going to just do anything. We're going to do what we know has benefited us and worked in the past. There are some differences. The packs are different. There are some differences that the compensation plan is different. There are some differences in that there's I'm not going to say anymore, coming on March 2nd that you're going to want to hear about. There's differences, but all of the differences that we have are actually going to accelerate more so than what we had in the past. So what we're proposing laid on top of this current compensation plan is nitroglycerin. So that's why what we're telling you right now is in advance, this is what we're doing. You know, we don't know who's going to jump in on this, but we know what we're going to do with who does. So I'm suggesting you think about who you would want to bring to this if you knew this was a serious plan and the people behind it are very serious and very successful. It really ups the ante, I think.
Thank
So,
you.
any questions? All right. Well, let's call it a night so I can get to bed early. And thanks for joining, everyone. And remember, next week, make sure you get your business builders on next week's kickoff call. It's really important.
Mike, after you turn it off, I have a cocktail that was suggested for your throat.
Okay.
Turn the
So
recording off.
let me end the recording. I'm not even sure I know how to do that. Let me see. Yeah, I can. Okay, I'll end the recording. Cheers.